Hey, boys and girls. I'm going to work the not assigned problems on the angle measures of polygons worksheet here in my living room. I apologize if my voice is really low. I'm trying to keep it quiet so that my sick infant daughter can stay asleep in the other room. If you see a lot of jump cuts, that's probably because she started crying or the dog started barking or maybe both. And who knows, maybe the dog will try to join the video at some point. We'll see. But let's just jump right into the worksheet. Always start with putting your name. You'd be surprised how many no-name worksheets I still get. It's already March, y'all. Alright, let's look at number 1. It says find the sum of the interior angles of a 13-gon. So if I look at my table, the sum tells us that we're going to use the top row, and the word interior tells us that we're going to use the left column. So the formula that I want is n minus 2 times 180 degrees. So I'm going to write theta equals, in parentheses, n minus 2 times 180 degrees. So n is the number of sides. That is 13. So I can replace n with 13. So theta equals 13 minus 2, still times 180 degrees. I know that 13 minus 2 is 11. And 11 times 180 degrees is 1,980 degrees. And that's my final answer. So again, the key words here were sum and interior. Let's look at number 3. This is another one that says interior. It also has the word an. So an means just one, but if you look at our table, we only have a formula for just one if it's a regular polygon. Now fortunately, it does tell us that this is a regular nonagon. So again, interior means that we're looking at the left column, and one angle of a regular polygon means we're looking at the bottom row. So the formula that I'm going to use is n minus 2 times 180 degrees all over n. Now a nonagon has 9 sides, so n equals 9. So I'll rewrite my formula as theta equals 9 minus 2 times 180 degrees all over 9. And that I could just put directly in my calculator. When I do that, I get theta equals 140 degrees. Number 5 says the sum of the interior angles of a polygon is 1,800 degrees. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. So there's that word sum. That means that we're pulling from the top row. And the word interior tells us that we're pulling from the left column. So the formula that I want is n minus 2 times 180 degrees. So I'll write theta equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees. Now this time it gives us theta, 1800 degrees, and we don't know the number of sides. So when I rewrite the equation filling in what I know, I'm going to write 1800 degrees equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees. I think the easiest thing to do here is divide both sides by 180. So I'm going to get 10 equals n minus 2. I'll add 2 to both sides, and n equals 12. Now be careful. It doesn't ask how many sides does it have. It says classify the polygon by the number of sides. So we're not quite done. If n equals 12, then the polygon is a dodecagon. And that's my final answer. Number 7 says the measure of an interior angle of a regular polygon is 108 degrees. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. So that word interior, if we look at the table, tells us that we're pulling from the left column. The word an tells us that we're just looking for one angle. And the word regular tells us that we are allowed to pull from that bottom row. So the formula that we want is theta equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees, all divided by n. Just like on number 5, we know theta, but we don't know n. So I'm going to plug 108 degrees in for theta. To get n out of the fraction, I'm going to have to multiply both sides of the equation by n. I have to distribute that 180 to both the n and the minus 2. I can subtract 180 in from both sides. And negative 2 times 180 is negative 360. And when I divide both sides of the equation by negative 72 degrees, I'm left with n equals 5. But again, it doesn't ask for the value of n, it asks us to classify. And a polygon with 5 sides is called a pentagon. And that's my final answer. Number 9 wants us to find the measure of an exterior angle of a regular decagon. So when I look at my table, one of the key words that I notice is exterior. So we want a formula from the right column. And because it says an angle, and it specifies that it's a regular decagon, we can pull from that bottom row. So our formula is theta equals 360 degrees divided by n. A decagon has 10 sides, so n equals 10. So theta equals 360 degrees divided by 10. So theta equals 36 degrees. Number 11 says to find the sum of the exterior angles of a 19gon. So I notice the word sum. That means that we're pulling from this top row. And exterior angles means that we're pulling from the right column. So look at that, the work is already done for us. Theta equals 360 degrees, and there is no math to do. It does not matter that it's a 19gon. The sum of the exterior angles is always 360 degrees, no matter how many sides it has. And lastly, number 13 says the measure of an exterior angle of a regular polygon is 120 degrees. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. So looking at my table, I see that word exterior, so we want the right column. And because it says an exterior angle, and it does specify that it's a regular polygon, we can use that bottom row. So the formula that we want is theta equals 360 degrees divided by n. And this time theta is given to us, it's 120 degrees. So 120 degrees equals 360 degrees divided by n. To get n out of the fraction, I have to multiply both sides of the equation by n. So I get 120 n degrees equals 360 degrees. Now to get n by itself, I have to divide both sides of the equation by 120 degrees. So n equals 360 degrees divided by 120 degrees. So n equals 3, and a polygon with 3 sides is called a triangle. And that's how you do the front side of the worksheet. For 15 through 20, I want to do the two in the middle for you. So let's look at number 16. Number 16, I can clearly see that it's interior angles that are labeled. So if I look at my table, I know that I want a formula from the left column. Now this is clearly not a regular polygon. So even if you are asked for just one angle, if it's not a regular polygon, you cannot use that formula on the bottom. So I'm going to have to use the sum of angles formula. So theta equals n minus 2 times 180 degrees. Now what is n? N is the number of sides, but I want you to notice it might be a little bit hard to tell these two sides apart. So instead of counting the sides, I'm going to count the angles, because it should just be the same number. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So n equals 8. I'll plug that in. Uh, 8 minus 2 is 6. So I'll rewrite theta equals 6 times 180 degrees, which means that theta equals 1080 degrees. Now remember, it didn't ask what is the sum of the angles. It says find the value of x. So what I have to do now is add up each of these and set it equal to 1080. So that's going to be 14x plus 133 plus 167 plus 138 plus 18x plus 115 plus 151 plus 120 equals 1080. I'm going to combine my like terms. 14x plus 18x equals 32x. If I add up all the ones that don't have an x, I get 824 degrees. And again, that equals 1080. So when I subtract 824 degrees from both sides, I'm left with 32x equals 256. So x equals 8. Last one, number 19. This time we're dealing with exterior angles. So when I look at my table, I want something from the right column. And because there's nothing in here that says that it's a regular polygon, in fact we can tell that it's not because none of these angles match each other, I have to rely on the sum of angles formula, which is less of a formula and more of just a number, but you know. So I know that all of these add up to 360. So I'm going to say 8x degrees plus x plus 54 plus 45 plus 50 plus 42 plus 4x equals 360 degrees. I'm going to combine my like terms, so I can combine everything that has an x. That adds up to 15x degrees. And all of these terms add up to 191 degrees. So I'm going to subtract 191 from both sides. So 15x equals 169 degrees. And if I divide both sides by 15 in the calculator, I'm going to get x equals something like 11.26666. I'm not going to write all the sixes, so I'm just going to round that to 11.27. Final answer. So hopefully that was helpful. Feel free to rewatch it as many times as you need to, and I should see you tomorrow.